you had an interview and you said that you were a military child. So like you were around the military, of course, and you actually were in the
Mhm.
military yourself. Like how long were you in the military and what was that experience like for you?
Yes, I was in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force for almost 4 years, so like 3 years, 8 months, or 9 months, or something like that. To be quite honest, I always tell everybody is I wouldn't do it twice, but I don't regret it. It definitely set me up for a lot of the things that I have now. So I'm grateful for the experience in a way. But yeah, I wouldn't do it twice, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Like and again, Air Force, you weren't you like is that more intense? I'm always wondering like because I know Marines are like yo Marines is the like toughest shit, and then some people say Navy's the toughest shit. Like what was Air Force like in terms of like training and shit?
Honestly, I'm going to be so honest. Everybody calls the Air Force and the military the chair force because we literally just kind of coast. Like we are all behind desks for the most part. It is the hardest branch to get into, to my own horn. So you have to score pretty high on the ASVAB to get in. But yeah, the Air Force is supposed to be the chiller of the branches. However, across the board, the military is just a different way of living that I feel like a lot of people just don't understand until they're in it.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's like corny for people. Like, is it like weird for people to say like thank you for your service whenever like they find out that you're in the military?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. Sure. Like, but a lot of people don't even know, to be honest. And then when I do tell them, they're like, that's random. And I'm like, yeah, it is kind of random when I think about it.
Do you take advantage of the military discounts? I feel like they're like
Oh,
everywhere.
100%. 100%, except for the military discounts aren't really discounts. They give you like $1 off. It feels like 50 cents. Like it's nothing. So half the time, I don't even remember. I mean, remember to ask. But when they do have, good advantages, I definitely do take advantage of it. So yeah.
For all of the stuff that you guys do for the country, they only giving niggas $1 off. That's crazy.
That's what I always say. I'm like, yo, they like, here, take your 50 cents.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. But hey, it's 50 cents. I guess money is money. But yeah.
So your time traveling took you to a lot of different places, and one thing I did also notice is that you spent some time in Korea. What was that experience
Yeah.
like for you? Just being from LA and then going over to Korea and seeing that culture.
Right. Definitely since, I think it was a lot of things. For one, I was just fresh 18 in the military. So going from living in the house, with your parents and, just being a kid essentially to like overnight moving to South Korea, your first time moving outside of the house is in another country.
Mhm.
That is a shock that I didn't even realize I didn't even know how to prepare for that. So I say when I got there, it was very hard for me to adjust, to be honest. It was very hard. Yeah, like it was my first time like just living on my own, didn't know anyone out there. Obviously there's a 13-hour like time difference. So it was just a lot of things that were hard to adjust to and just the military lifestyle in general. But on the bright side of it was such a culture shock that it inspired me to want to take photos and videos and like document every single thing that was going on during the process. And so it was like really a blessing in disguise because everything was new to me. Like I've never been out the country. I've never seen this way of living. So I'm honestly, I love living in South Korea. I think if I lived there outside the military, it would have been even better. But
Mhm.
I loved my experience overall. Of what I did have while I was in South Korea.
I just know that the food was fucking bomb over there. It had to be.
Amazing. Amazing. I always tell people too, and not when I say that, I don't even mean like Korean food. I'm like just food in general. Like they are very particular about the food being served as it looks on the photos. Like in
Mhm.
America, they kind of just slap the food on the plate. Like it's
Yeah.
whatever, you're gonna get what you get. But out there, everywhere you go, they're very particular about having like very nice presentation. It doesn't matter if it's fast food, fine dining, whatever. So not only was the presentation amazing, but the food was really great. So definitely my favorite place to eat.
And you said that Korea was kind of where you got your inspiration to do photography. What was like your first camera? Like what was like that moment where you were like, yo, this kind of tight.
Yeah, my first camera was a Canon T3i, and I feel like it's a lot of people's first camera.
Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, it's pretty easy to use. straightforward. And like I said, I was when I first started, I wasn't doing it with the intention of making it a career, because I already had a career. Essentially, the military was my career. It was more so just like, hey, I just want to document like what's going on. Like everything was like just like wow to me. Everything was wow. Even the simplest things were just like a wow factor. So it didn't feel like a job having this camera. I was just eager to go try new places. Me and my friend Bree, at the time, we would like literally take the bus like to different places. Like we would literally just pick a random place and just be like, let's just go here. So every weekend we would go to a different part of South Korea that were within military zones and just try a new food spot, try a new place. And I would just bring my camera with me. And so it was fun.
And again, you said you were 18. I didn't know that part. Like you're super young at this. You were super young at this point on your own. I think for a lot of people that age, like that's something where it's like not only just a culture shock, it's like a life shock. Like you're
exactly.
I'm assuming it's your first time away from your parents and your family, and like you said, there's that time difference. What did you do there? Like how did you keep in touch or like keep abreast of like what was going on in America if you did that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think my job was just honestly, it was just so mentally draining. So I worked night shifts most of my time being there. So I worked overnight from like 11, I can't remember, maybe 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. We were working 12-hour shifts at the time. And so like everyone else would sleep while I was up, vice versa. It was honestly very hard to like really keep in contact with my family like that. I would send a message and then the message, they would respond hours later.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like loneliness, to be honest, in Korea. Like I felt like working a night shift, it was only me and one other person on the shift already. So then during the day, I'm super tired, I'm asleep. And then I'm not really talking to my family that much. So I just was kind of lost in the sauce, to be honest. Like I was like just trying to figure it out as I go. But as much as I love Korea, it was also very lonely for me too.
And I could imagine like photography kind of did it kind of take away some of that loneliness and give you like your own center, your own peace?
Definitely. Like I feel like that was, like I said, once I met my friend Bree, I met her while I was in South Korea, probably a couple months in. She was just so down to do whatever with me. Like, so like if I wanted to take photos and test things and do videos and X, Y, and Z, she was just like, let's do it. Like, and so it was just something that I started looking forward to. Like I said, at the time too, obviously I'm underage. So most of the people in the military, like drinking and doing hookah and all that is like, that's the thing to do. But I also wasn't even able to do that at the time. So it was like, I'm just kind of the tag along friend who's just capturing everybody else having fun, to be honest. So, but yeah, photography definitely was like my, like kind of my anchor of like something to look forward to, because I started feeling like I didn't really have any true purpose in the military. I was just kind of there. I was just another number. But photography was like the one thing that was like unique to me and like my style and my eye and my vision.
Do you still have a lot of those early photos and videos that you shot during that time?
I lost a whole hard drive of all of my photos from early on, and it's so sad. But I used to upload a lot of them to Twitter, and then my old Twitter got deleted too. So now I'm really like, wow, this sucks. But I do have like a handful of them for sure, and I have some videos. Actually, I think I had posted some like on Facebook, so I have everything that I have from Facebook from years ago still for sure.
Okay. You had mentioned your friend Bree too. Like, is that someone you still keep in touch with now that you're out the military?
Yeah, me and Bree still keep in touch. Obviously not as much. She's in Georgia now. She has a family, she's married, and I love that for her. But we definitely still, actually just talked to her yesterday. But we try and see each other at least twice a year, like make a trip, or either she'll come out here or I'll fly out to Atlanta and see her. But that is my girl, saved my life because she was older than me. So at the time, it was like she was kind of like my big sister, like helping me navigate like life as a Black woman in the military is a very unique experience. And so she was really like an older sister to me. I don't have any older sisters. I am the oldest. So in general, she was just helping me navigate life, how to deal with people, how to deal with military standards, and, just how to cope and get through. She was already in for like 6 years before I got to the military. Before I got to South Korea. So she definitely saved my life and helped me with so much, and was like a very important part of my process.
No, I love it. I was curious.
What was your first big like photography gig? Can you describe like how you got that?
Yeah. I guess my first big gig was, well, I guess the first memorable one was actually I had got in trouble in the military for it. So you're not allowed to really have another job outside of the military. And so it started becoming a problem once people figured out that I was starting to get booked for it. And it's not just a hobby. But I had got booked to shoot Diddy's Bad Boy reunion tour in Oakland.
Oh, shit.
So that was the first time I had got booked for something like really big. And this is like right after I got back from South Korea and I just got back to the States. So I was only shooting for like a year at this point. And they had found some photos that I took. I guess somebody posted them on Tumblr. There used to be this group called Hyphy Hoochies in the Bay. And I had shot some photos of them, and Diddy's assistant, who was Barreline, it's crazy to see Barrelines grow too. She reached out and asked me to shoot some photos for that. And so I ended up shooting some photos. And that was probably definitely the biggest moment of like, it was in the arena, the Oracle. And it was just so big. It felt so bigger than life. And so it was my first time really even at a big show like that. And my first time at a big show was me shooting it. So that was definitely my first big gig.
Yeah. And again, like that's fucking huge for your first gig. Like the Bad Boy reunion tour was like, everybody was talking about that at the time. And
right,
like, how did you feel when they like reached out like, yo, what are you doing? You're going to get in trouble for this.
Yeah, well, my military base and stuff, they didn't even find out about it until afterwards. I had posted like one Snapchat and I thought I didn't have anybody from my job on it, on my Snapchat. And of course, the one person that I did have decided to work it up my whole chain of command, and it became a very big deal, to say the least. And yeah, as much as I was excited, it was like they tried to take that moment from me. And it was like, dang, like something really big happened and everyone is shitting on me right now at work. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. They snitched on you like that. What the fuck did they gain from that?
Nothing.
Like
literally nothing.
I actually had an instance in my life where somebody saw me doing something and they snitched on me. Josh knows about this story. I think MC does too.
The parallels are.
That's ridiculous.
I actually got fired for it, but ended up better for it though.
Yeah, I kind of got that. I kind of got fired without being fired in different ways. So that's why I'm like, it was really serious. Like I had to show up in blues, which is like your dress uniform. You only show up in dress uniform if you're getting an award or you about to get boot out the military. So it got serious like that. And I was just like, wow, all of this over taking some photos. Like, this is crazy.
Oh my God. Okay. We're going to go from that downside to, talking about more about your career in photography. We're going to take a quick break on Black Print Radio and we'll be right back after we play some songs.